Welcome to this series of videos, all things University of the People. In this video, we will compare the University of the People to other online institutions. And the purpose for this is not to disparage any university or any type of learning. Each person learns differently, and all of these institutions are important for a particular type of learning. However, I wanted to give you some insights from some different learning platforms against each other. And these are ones that I've been able to personally witness or interview people to understand a little bit more about how some of these institutions work. So let's dive right in. So the University of the People is structured in a way that is good for people that need deadlines, that need things to keep them going. It keeps you on track and moving forward towards your goal. So in the University of the People, if you start as a degree-seeking student, each term you can take between 2 and 4 classes, as long as your GPA stays above 3.0. So in my experience, it was better for me to take 2 classes per term, keep my GPA high, and be able to go to school while working a full-time job and having a family. That structure worked out very well for me because it forced me to have my coursework done by a certain time. Every week there are deadlines. So, for example, your discussion posts they should be in on Sunday so that your peers have a few days to respond and assign marks to your discussion posts and to promote discussion between peers. But it's actually due close of business UoPeople time on Wednesday. Your learning journals are due close of business on Thursday. And your new term starts every Wednesday, University of the People time, at a particular time, let's say 11:59 perhaps. And so this structure makes it so I move through my course in a methodical manner, and I accomplish the course objectives in an 8-week period of time. So taking 2 courses a term, I can finish my bachelor's degree program in 4 years. So how about student involvement and interaction? With the University of the People, this is done through their discussion posts. So you have to reply to 3 other people once you post your discussion forum post. You cannot see everybody else's until you post yours. And then students are encouraged to discuss those, the concepts in the assignment prompt. And as an instructor, my job is to try and facilitate that, as well as give additional information about the prompt or the particular concept that we're talking about during that particular week. So I might respond to, say, 6 or 10, maybe even more, of the students in my class and get them talking about these. I'll ask them questions. Why do you think that way? Or there are studies to the contrary. How do you justify your position? Things of that nature to encourage discussion and interaction. Because online learning has a particular weakness for developing those relationships that come more easily in a on-campus setting where you're directly interacting in the same physical space with people. This is one way that they try to encourage involvement with your peers and maybe building that Rolodex of contacts that you might need later to get a job that you're applying for. Instructor involvement is encouraged and it is not only encouraged, but it's monitored and it's graded. So as an instructor, I'm graded, and one of the points I'm graded upon in the rubric is, or critiqued upon, is my interaction with the students. And they do that by how quickly I answer emails, how many times I post in the discussion post, and how often I check into my classrooms. If I don't get a particular level of if I don't hit a particular level in my instructor critique or grading, if you will, then it can affect my ability to teach classes in future terms. So the University of the People is very diligent about ensuring that instructors are involved in their classrooms, and they require it of that. How about academic integrity and academic excellence? Well, I can tell you that the University of the People takes plagiarism and academic integrity. They take academic integrity very serious. If a student plagiarizes an assignment, meaning leaves out an in-text citation, leaves out a reference in the reference page or the reference section, or copies and pastes, or in any other way takes academic content from somebody else and tries to pass it off as their own, they get a 0 for that assignment, and they get reported to the administration. On subsequent offenses, depending on what type and how severe they are, the student can actually be expelled from the university or get a 0 for that class in that particular term. So academic integrity is very important to the University of the People, as is their academic excellence. I have to tell you that my instructors that I had getting my bachelor's and master's degrees there were very not only academically qualified, but were professionally qualified as well. They had many years in their chosen profession, and they worked for some important institutions, Fortune 500 companies, and the like. And some of them were entrepreneurs that had successful businesses of their own. So academic excellence and integrity are, I would say, probably the two most important values at the University of the People, if I had to guess. One thing that we should compare if we're going to try to get closer to an apples to apples comparison, is cost. So the University of the People is tuition free. The books are open source and are free to use, but there is a cost. There's a $120 testing fee at the end of each course. For example, a bachelor's degree would have 40 courses, 120 credit hours. So that would be about $4,800, let's say, is what it would cost you for your bachelor's degree. The master's degree, the cost is a little bit higher than that. And subsequently, your master's degree is slightly over, is somewhere over $3,000, between $3,000 and $4,000. There are scholarships that are available to students if they are unable to pay. I don't know how stringent the application process is for that. I did not attempt to use any of those scholarships, but I do know that there have been a number of students that have received these scholarships as people donate money to this university because of its diversity and its worldwide student base. So those are the major areas perhaps that will compare the University of the People to when it comes to other institutions. One other thing I'd like to cover is video content. So there's not a ton of video content in the University of the People structure. You don't have, your professors do not make the content themselves. I believe that they collaborate with their department heads on changing curriculum for subsequent terms, perhaps, for particular classes, but I haven't personally seen a video where I had one of my instructors teaching a particular subject. It's mostly reading, a lot of reading, a lot of writing, a lot of research on your own. So how does this compare to other institutions? Well, there's two other institutions. Actually three I'd like to compare them to, but I'll kind of leave their names out because I'm more interested in the teaching method and the structure of learning rather than anything else. So another pretty prominent one of these online institutions that's also accredited. All the ones we're talking about will be accredited institutions. So another one of these institutions, a very good friend of mine, is currently taking their courses for their bachelor's degree. This institution, for example, has a cost for a 6-month semester, and you can take 5 courses in that 6-month semester. There are no hard deadlines. In fact, if you miss your 6-month period and you're not done with your 5 classes, you can extend that by paying a fee. So you could actually drag your college out far longer than 4 years just by not being self-disciplined and getting your classes completed. So for me, that would be a downside. For somebody else, that might be very good if they need less structure, more time perhaps, or maybe less time. Maybe they can fly through these 5 courses in 4 months instead, and they can take their final exam on those 5 courses, and they can be done with that semester, and they can move on to the next. That institution costs about $1,000 every 6 months, and so it's more expensive than the University of the People. The interaction with other students or peers is zero. So they don't have any interaction with their peers. They don't peer review or peer grade other students' assignments or get feedback from them. They can contact their instructor via email, and they are concerned about academic integrity and academic excellence as well. I don't know many of their instructors, except for the fact that I know that they have a master's degree in what they're teaching, and therefore we can assume that they're qualified to teach those subjects. Academic integrity is taken seriously, but I don't know the backside. Not having taught there, I can't know the backside of the university, how they monitor that, and how stringent they approach academic integrity. And video content, once again, it's mostly reading, mostly online research, and mostly writing is how that gets done. There's tests, just like the University of the People, at the end of each course and at the end of each semester. They have a final exam that has so many questions, 10 questions, let's say, from each of those subjects. Having said that, you can see that there's one that has more structure than the other and more interaction and involvement with peers and from what I've seen, perhaps instructors as well. Another institution has a very similar concept, but it's much more expensive. So from what I hear from a person that's currently going there is that you pay a fee of north of $3,000 for a 6-month semester, and you can do as many classes as you can possibly knock out for that $3,000. And I've seen some YouTube videos about people that they challenge a postulate that says that you can get your bachelor's degree in 6 months. And so this institution is more attuned to what you can test out of. So if I think I know a subject well enough, I can request to test out of that subject. So you can see that if you're well-rounded, maybe you took AP classes in high school, maybe you're good academically and you have a good memory of those academic achievements in high school, you might be able to blow through this particular university relatively quick. Should that be the goal? I'm not sure. You have to decide that. From what I understand, the interaction with peers is very limited, if any at all. And although teachers may be there to help you, the object of people that go there seems to be that they believe they can test out of a number of classes and cut their cost of their education substantially. If they can do it in a 6-month term, like I said, it's just north of $3,000 for a bachelor's degree. So in that sense, it could be cheaper theoretically than the University of the People or the other university that has a slightly different structure, but the odds of being able to do that for most people is going to be slim. And if you do have to do 2 semesters at that university, it costs substantially more to go to that particular institution than the other 2 we've talked about. Finally, I'd like to compare the University of the People to an institution that has both campuses, and it has multiple campuses, and it does online degree courses. It's substantially more expensive. You'll pay a certain fee per number of credit hours, and it's also accredited, obviously. The interaction with students and instructors is probably more than the other 3 institutions. And the reason for that is it's not asynchronous. And what do I mean by asynchronous? That just means that in this particular university, things happen for all students and the instructor at the same time. For example, there might be a video class that you have to attend at a specific time in order to get credit for attending class, let's say. So that doesn't happen with the other 3 institutions. However, with this particular institution, it does. In fact, depending on the degree program that you take, you may even have to go to the campus for a certain period of time and spend some time on campus. So it's far more expensive. It is not asynchronous, and the other 3 are. You can actually do. I liked the University of the People because I could do my studies at midnight, 1 in the morning when my day was done. So that worked for me. The other 2 institutions we talked about were also asynchronous, meaning that you can do your work anytime as long as you meet final deadlines if they have them. However, the final university that we're talking about does not have that option. It is not asynchronous. At least most of the assignments are. Some of the assignments, I should say, are not. So that's a real brief comparison of the University of the People to 3 other universities that have slightly different methods of teaching and different expectations. And they also have a focus on different things. What I particularly like about the University of the People is they try to get the best of all worlds and eliminate the drawbacks of some of those. For example, there is peer and teacher interaction. They try and maximize that. However, it's also asynchronous. So it appeals to a broader cross-section of students. The University of the People is not completely free, but it is tuition free. And of all the universities that we've looked at, it's potentially the least expensive, assuming that you're a degree-seeking student and you're taking, well, I guess it doesn't even matter how many classes you take per term because you pay per class. So academic excellence and integrity, I think the University of the People compares well to any of the institutions, the academic integrity of some of the other institutions. Although I have to be fair, I have to say that I have not gone there and I haven't taught at any of those other ones. So I can't specifically, I can't be too critical, or I can't make too many hard and fast assumptions about any of the institutions. I assume that they are all academically excellent and that they all value academic integrity. Cost is a big variance to all the universities. Video content or other methods of learning might be greater with, for example, the university that has physical campuses than those that do not. So that's a brief comparison of the University of the People to 3 other online learning structures. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If you've enjoyed it, mash the like button for me. Please subscribe to our channel, and if you have any questions, put them down in the comments section. If I get a few of the same question, I'll make a video and get you the information you need. Thanks for joining us. Keep an eye out for our next video. Do volunteer teachers mean low quality instruction? Join us next time. Thanks.